So I'd like to talk about, so a point that the negative brought up was they brought up a point saying that there are rules that are enforced to these data brokers that are aggregating a compiled, package of like data. And I kind of wanted to talk about that. Okay, so I want to mention that while there are rules that are enforced for these data to keep like the data companies in line, a lot of these laws and legislations and acts are very lax, I guess, in a sense. And so there's one article that I found by Ken Sweet in his article, Equifax collects your data and then sells it. And he says that credit companies are governed by one main federal law, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, which requires the companies to give you access to your data once a year and allow for disputes. Most of the regulation in the industry happens at the state level. So this kind of shows that even though there are regulations to keep these companies in line, it is still on kind of on a minimal level, and they are allowed to do what they want because it is so minimal. And another article by James Norrie says that the Federal Trade Commission has made no meaningful progress to define strict standards of public conduct and protocols required of companies handling consumer data breaches. And so again, when it comes to like hacking and having information identity theft stolen, there really isn't an authority to impose fines or harsh kind of punishments in terms. So sadly, no criminal laws are broken because of that. And so, an example of that is that, again, going back to Equifax, in the article by Ken Sweet again, it states that the trove of data that they had became its biggest liability after the company admitted that it didn't keep the information safe from criminals and hackers who stole or accessed the data on 143 million Americans who are now at risk for identity theft. Okay. And then I'd kind of like to touch upon the plan of action where, and I guess that we don't really have a lot of concrete evidence. So while it is true that, that having all these sort of access to data and having companies being able to, I guess, share the accumulation of data, would help the customers. We're trying to say that the legislation will kind of help, I guess, just try to control it and try to, make it so that it's not so out of our hands. So, an article, a quote by Brian Naylor states that the FTC Commissioner Julie Brill says that legislation needs to make the industry more transparent. So we want there to be a connection between the customers and the companies, and we want it to be transparent. So we don't want there to be, like any kind of, behind the business things that the customers don't know about. And so what would happen is that we could then, there should be websites where maybe consumers have access to all their data, or to be able to correct it or block it and try to see whatever they can modify from whatever information is being used. So that way it can help kind of regulate and kind of prevent, I guess, from their data from being stolen.